turn it up. Yeah. Clock eyes, Uncle Dave.
It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. Hey, let's talk what moves to do, who to trade for who. Get your fantasy stats and the place to boot. Get the plans for the draft and the major clues. With the home Sean, Joey, and Andrew. Dan dudes got the hot takes. Every stop place, not base, plot cases. Man, hit the streams of fate, talking teams and plays. But let's get to the show, man. See you later.
All right, welcome back to Dynasty Football Digest. We are here on our first quarantine show of the new season. I'm here with my co-host Andrew.
Hey, what's up? You can find me at BiddySetFF.
And Joey.
Still hasn't gotten easier, huh? At Joey the Tooth IDP.
And you can find me at Lanny1925 on Twitter. So we're going to talk some running back landing spots today. Honestly, I just didn't want to talk about the tight ends or quarterbacks, and these guys didn't want to talk about any more wide receivers, even though I got one more guy I'm going to bring up at the end here. So we're going to kind of move on to landing spots for a little bit. So we're going to be talking DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and just kind of talk about where we potentially could see them landing, where we want to see them land, stuff like that. So let's kick it off with DeAndre Swift here. Joe, you want to start this off here?
Yeah, I could see him landing in Miami. And I feel bad for Jordan Howard again because he's just going to lose a job again just based off the fact he can't catch the ball. Swift's got great Go ahead.
I don't think Jordan Howard's that good, though.
He was playing well last season before he got injured, and then Miles Sanders took over. He was playing well.
He was playing fine. But, I don't know. There's nothing special there. He's just a guy to me.
Right. Which is why I still think they drafted running back early. I think Swift could be the guy, and he fits the timeline on that team very well. He's a 3-down back, and he just fits into the offense. He's very explosive, big play guy. I think that's where he could land.
Andrew, you got somewhere where you think he could land?
So I like Miami as a possible landing spot for him as well, but I'm going to stay in the AFC East. I'm going to say the Jets. I think that they've been hinting all along that they're not super keen on Bell, and I think that he, succeeds in a lot of the same ways that Bell does. So I think that he'd be a pretty easy and relatively cheap plug and play replacement for Bell.
So if that's where he goes and he's sitting behind Bell or he's sharing with Bell, because I don't think they're going to draft him and then bench Le'Veon Bell, right? Like where
trade him.
I thought they were talking about trading him or cutting him.
Yeah, I think there's been talk. I don't know how much truth there is to that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll come back to where I think Swift lands. Why don't you guys talk about where you'd like to see him land real quick while I pull up Le'Veon Bell's contract.
Kansas City.
You'd like to see him in Kansas City. I was going to say Kansas City.
That's why I said it quicker than you, so you have to come up with something else.
So, Kansas City is obviously somewhere where, any running back that lands there, we're going to be happy with that. But, and I think everybody kind of assumes that Kansas City is going to draft a running back where everyone's just talking whichever running back lands in Kansas City. But,
do they just roll with Damian Williams for another $3 million?
Well, or I think
they have Darwin Thompson.
Draft somebody late, and they just because both them and the 49ers have kind of proven, and those are the two ideal landing spots, obviously, and for the same reason that they're the favorite landing spots are also the reasons that I think they probably don't invest high draft capital. It's because just anybody works there. Every single running back that plugs in over in San Francisco succeeds. Every single running back that plugs in over in Kansas City succeeds. So, I think they're both well-run teams outside of trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think that if
let me ask you one quick question on that.
Yeah.
Would you think that decision's worse than trading him for Tom Brady?
No, you don't trade for Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no.
You don't
So
have to. He's a free agent.
I know, but if it were like switching him out for Tom Brady, still don't do that. Either way. So while I really like those landing spots for basically every running back, a couple, some more than others, but I do really like those. I'm not sure it's entirely likely that any of these top running backs landed there. I think we're more looking at players like Zach Moss or Keyshawn Vaughn that end up there, like guys that go a little bit later where they don't have to invest as high.
Are those guys a big upgrade over Darwin Thompson though? Like,
I mean, Darwin Thompson didn't even see the field. So my thing was I really liked Darwin Thompson's tape. I thought I was really high on him, and then everybody else got way higher on him once he went to Kansas City. My thing with him is that he's a little smaller. Like he's built well, but he's a little smaller. And he was always more of a physical running back where he won with contact balance rather than like pure elusiveness, like the ability to juke people out of their shoes and stuff. And it's a problem that I've had with several running backs over the last couple of years. Ronald Jones comes to mind. It's just like guys where you're not going to be able to bowl through guys like that at the next level. So, like, I definitely think he's a talented running back. There are questions about how well he translates. And he was, like, the only running back that didn't get any work on that team. So, like, I'm not all in on the Darwin Thompson train, especially because what was his draft capital? Was it 6th round?
Yeah, I think so.
5th round,
ooh,
6th
was
round?
that late? I didn't think it was that late.
I think it was 5th or 6th. But, like, it wasn't spectacular draft capital. It was just like, this is the guy that's going to Kansas City. So I do still like Darwin Thompson. I just don't think I'm as in on him as everybody else. Looking at Le'Veon Bell's contract.
I brought it up. He's not getting cut this year.
Yeah, not this year. He can get cut next year. But, like, I think investing high in a running back and then having to, like, split time with him and Bell when Bell is sitting at a $15 million cap hit this year, which is absolutely insane. Like, that's got to be one of the worst signings the last few years.
I thought it was higher than that. It's only 15. I thought it was 19.
No, it's 15.5, 17 million dead cap.
Oh, yeah, the dead cap's 19, yeah.
No, dead cap's 17.
Where are you getting that from? Because I'm on over the cap and I'm showing 19.
I'm on Spot Track.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Whatever. Somewhere in that range. It's bad.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, yeah, those are the places I'd like to see him land. I do think the Dolphins are likely. I also think that the Colts might be a likely spot. And I kind of like that spot for him, too, just because I think the Colts probably go quarterback round 1. I think Phillip Rivers probably.
You think they go round 1, huh?
Yeah, I think Phillip Rivers is the bridge so that they can take Jordan Love. That would be my guess there. And then I think they can come back in round 2, sign a running back, and then have Marlon Mack split time with them and then walk Marlon Mack out the park after this year.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm kind of looking at it, and like the Falcons seem like a really likely one there.
The Falcons are my backup.
Yeah, and I think I'd like the Falcons more than the Colts, and I think I'd like it more than the Dolphins as well, just because I think they have more stable situations. So yeah, I think the Falcons is where I'd like to see DeAndre Swift.
See, I really disagree with the Colts, just because
disagree with what part of it?
That they're going to take him. Like, I think yeah, sure, he'd be a good fit ish, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they like Mac enough. They're not going to draft a guy high enough to compete with them. They're not. I really don't see them spending that draft capital. You talk about like well-run organizations. I think they are one of the better run organizations in terms of like their process, the way they're building their team.
Yeah, Ballard's a good GM.
Yeah, and so I really don't see him investing what I perceive to be at minimum a second-round pick in order to get him. I see them really wanting to build their team in a different way. That like you talk about how there's some teams that just get it more than other teams, and I think they're one of the teams that get it and aren't going to invest high draft capital in a running back.
So if we're looking at teams that could invest high draft capital, we're basically looking at like that we think will invest high draft capital. We're looking at the Dolphins and
Atlanta,
Tampa. Maybe
I think
Tampa at
Atlanta.
this point.
I think Atlanta.
Because Atlanta
also.
no longer has to attack edge. They just signed Dante Fowler, so it's not a
So you got
huge
Atlanta.
necessity.
Well, with Tampa talking about Todd Gurley, potential Todd Gurley trade. Let's say
I really
Yeah,
don't see
is
that
that
happening.
legit? What was it?
No.
Cooks and Gurley for Godwin? Did
I
somebody
don't-
No,
say that?
that's not that.
That's
that
not a
was
thing, right?
nonsense. But
Okay.
but like reputable reporters have said the interest in Todd Gurley is real. Now, whether or not the interest meets the price point is something else. But if the interest in Todd Gurley is real, you got to believe that the interest in running back is real.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Right. So, like Tampa could potentially be one of those teams that goes early.
So in that case, if the Rams are but they have Darrell Henderson.
Yep.
I kind of forgot about him.
If they traded Gurley away, then you're looking at probably them drafting somebody in round 3 or 4
Yeah.
to split time with Henderson.
No, give Henderson the reins.
Dude, Henderson wasn't even the second guy up last year, so
Give Henderson the reins.
okay.
It's just because you have him in multiple leagues.
Yeah, I know. You have him in every league, and not only do you have him in every league, but like you value him so much more than everybody else. And then when it came time for drafts, like I think you realized that you didn't value him as much as you thought.
No,
It's like,
I got him in multiple drafts. There's one draft that you sniped me on him. Sniped me on him, but it was because I was trying to wait and see where somebody else was going to take him. Like I was ready to take him before that.
You did not take him before all the first round picks were gone, and you were the one saying that you'd want a first round pick for him. So you were taking first round picks over him, despite saying that you value him as a first round pick.
No, I'm saying I would give him for a first round pick. I've said that repeatedly. I'd rather have a first round pick than him.
Right, but you wouldn't do it for a second.
Right. But I was taking him in the time that the second round picks were being taken. I'd rather have him than a mid-second. Yeah. I'd rather have him than a mid-second.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to talk Jonathan Taylor here. So Jonathan Taylor, I think we're all kind of in agreement here that he's not going to be the pass catching focal back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So places that he would make sense would be places that already have established pass catching backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So what if he went to like the Chargers?
I think they didn't give Eckler a huge amount of money, but I think they really have faith in Eckler and they want to spend money elsewhere.
I also think that they're going to draft a quarterback with their first round pick, and I don't think he'll be around for the second round pick.
Okay.
Unless they trade back their first round pick. They're not taking him. What do they pick? 6th overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what could happen is
6.
You could have no, not at 6. We'd be looking at second round because it's entirely possible that he falls to the second based on pass catching ability, but they may end up missing on the quarterbacks if the Colts trade up or if the Panthers trade up. Although, how long is Bridgewater's contract he just signed?
I thought it was 3 years.
3 years.
And yeah, I guess we don't have the details on that, so we don't know if they have an easy out or anything. So what other places could he go where he won't need to catch passes? The Saints, but they're not going that early.
I'd say Indy. So they have Hines still.
Yeah, and Mac. But I mean, you're not like bringing Taylor in to replace Mac and then playing Hines, you know?
So I agree with you that he could go somewhere that they already have a pass catching back in place, but I also believe that he goes somewhere where they just have like a dearth of running back talent, and he could still be involved in the pass game, but not as a focal point of the offense. So that's where I'm thinking Miami would be a good fit for him because they just need a talented running back.
See, and I think Miami is going to pop up for all these because Miami's backfield is wide open. And they're also in a position where they have a bunch of picks, so it makes sense where they can take a running back early.
But I also think that they're part of the Flores is part of the New England tree where they're okay with a guy that just runs the ball really well. Like they're not
Right, but they're only going to take one running back early, you know. So like,
Yeah.
if let's say they take Swift, where does Taylor go?
So I was going to say the other place I could see, and I know it doesn't necessarily fit the narrative of Bruce Arians, but is Tampa, because again they don't have very talented running backs in that offense, but I think they want to surround Tom with some talent that is not going to put too much of the offense on his shoulders, and give him somebody that can grind some clock.
See, and I think for me, Tampa, Swift and Dobbins are more likely just because both him and both Arians and Tom Brady like throwing to the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to me, like Swift, Dobbins, Edwards-Helaire make more sense there. What if the Bills go like late round 2? Like let's say Swift goes to the Dolphins, Dobbins goes to the Falcons, and then Taylor falls because he's not catching the football, and the Bills get him late round 2.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I honestly think Taylor is probably going to be the first back off the board. I really do. Even though he doesn't catch the ball well, I just think he's going to be the first back off the board. And I don't see the Bills putting that much capital into a running back. Singletary proved he can play last year. I don't think they're going to go draft and put that much draft capital on another running back.
I wonder how much faith they have in him to be like the full-time back, though. The other one that's kind of sneaky was, what about Pittsburgh?
I was wondering about Pittsburgh. I don't know really what's going on with James Conner.
Well, I think James Conner's going to be gone after this year.
Yeah.
So
and then
I think
he's got Benny Snell to beat.
Jalen Samuels.
Jalen Samuels is not really a running back. So yeah, I don't know. I think Pittsburgh might be interesting for Jonathan Taylor too. But
I would like to see that actually.
So much of it is going to come down to who the Dolphins take, though. Who the Dolphins take, who the Falcons take, and I think like that's going to dictate everything else.
I honestly thought that the Titans were going to let Henry walk because he was going to be too much money, and I actually thought they would just draft Taylor just to jump right in and take Henry's role.
Yeah. But all right, let's take a short break, and we'll be back to talk Dobbins and Akers. All right, we're back, and we are going to talk J.K. Dobbins and Cam Akers and potential landing spots. You guys wanna start this off here?
I'd like J.K. Dobbins to Atlanta.
I do too.
He fits the scheme perfectly.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, and I think that I guess Hayden Hurst going there kind of throws a bit of a wrench in things because Austin Hooper leaving opened up a lot of the short targets over the middle because that's a lot of what Austin Hooper did.
Yeah, but even last year when Freeman had a down year, he still caught a lot of passes.
Yeah, and he still like produced in fantasy for every other week, even though he was super ineffective as an actual running back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that's a great landing spot. I really like that. Andrew, what do you think?
I think that he fits the Shanahan scheme perfectly. I'd like to see him in San Francisco.
Yeah, and so for me, I like everybody in San Francisco, but I think Cam Akers specifically would be awesome in San Francisco.
That was my next guy.
Yeah, just like that one cut and go, and just like massive physical ability, just athleticism. I think that really fits the Shanahan. So he's one of those guys that I think really fits going to Kansas City or San Francisco. Dobbins, like the Falcons. I really like Tampa Bay here, but like kind of a sneaky one for this guy and like the next one that we're going to talk about. I really like Arizona. I think that like you put him out there, lone back, 4 wide receiver sets. You put him up against boxes that aren't stacked with fucking DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald and maybe CeeDee Lamb, and like I think he just shreds those defenses, like just small boxes, give him the zone run and let him go. I really like him in Arizona.
I worry about Drake still, but
I'm not. I don't think he's in the long-term plans.
But so you don't think that if he produces this year, let's say they just say they don't draft a guy, or at least don't draft a guy with high capital, and Drake just crushes this year, leads the league in yards from scrimmage. I don't know, 80 catches. You don't think that they're gonna like be open to giving him? And I'm not talking about a Todd Gurley contract. I'm talking about a Austin Eckler contract. You don't think
if he leads the league in yards from scrimmage, he's not getting an Austin Eckler contract.
Well, maybe not that, but somewhere between those two, right? Like I think hopefully, I mean, if all of fantasy football Twitter has figured out that you don't pay a running back, surely like some of the GMs have figured that out too, haven't they?
Yeah, which is why they wouldn't pay Kenyon Drake.
That's why Melvin Gordon's still a free agent.
They wouldn't pay him the type of contract that Gurley got, but
somebody will pay him. We were just talking about Le'Veon Bell getting fucking $15 million a year,
and that was a mistake. And I think everybody realizes that now.
The difference with Drake is Drake doesn't have as many miles on his body.
I don't believe in the miles.
No,
I really don't. No, I believe in injuries and I believe in age.
Well, he's good in both aspects.
You don't believe in Adrian Peterson?
He's
26. Yeah, that's not really old.
I mean, like 28 is like death blow for running backs usually. So
yeah, and ones that have been a lead running back for their entire career.
But I mean, like, I think the ones that last beyond that, like consistently, are
Frank
just
Gore.
superior. They're superior talents. It's not that they have less mileage. Like Gore had a ton of mileage. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to do a statistical study of mileage on running backs. I'll check that out. But 26 years old. He'll probably be 27 by midway through the year, which means if they sign him again, he'll have hit the 28 by the end of a 1-year contract the following year. There's no way they're giving him a long-term deal, you know? Because, like, you sign him to a 3-year deal right now, and he'll be 30 by the time it's over.
Yeah.
So,
I see that.
I don't know. I think Drake is gone after this year, and I also think that they're fully capable of using multiple running backs. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think J.K. Dobbins is a superior talent, and I would really like to see him in that offense. But yeah, if he doesn't go there, Tampa's a good spot. Falcons are a good spot. Chiefs, 49ers, but I don't think they'll invest capital high enough. And then obviously the Dolphins are in play. Andrew, you got anybody else for J.K. Dobbins?
No, I really think the Niners are the team that he go to and that we'd be a good fit in.
I'd like that a lot.
That's my team.
I
don't see the Akers fit for him because they don't like Akers is a big bruising back. That's not the style of player that they A look for or B thrives in their system. All their guys are smaller and like elite spark athletes, right? And J.K. Dobbins.
Not that they're smaller; it's that they're athletic. They're explosive.
You're not saying that you think they're like what? I guess what is our definition of smaller? I think they're sub 220.
I'm saying that I don't think it's the size that matters. It's
the elusiveness.
Oh boy!
And that's recorded.
We're gonna need to pull that clip out.
I'm saying I don't think it has
that's
to
what
do
she
with
said.
how heavy they are. I think it has to do with how explosive of athletes they are. So, Cam Akers, just looking at it, their RAS scores from Kentley Platty. We got 4.47 40. So he's 88th percentile 40-yard dash, 83rd 20-yard split, 80th 10-yard split. 72nd percentile vertical, 82nd percentile broad jump, and he's doing all of that at 5'10", 217. Like he's an athletic freak. He like 93rd percentile overall for all that.
Right. I believe that J.K. Dobbins is also an athletic freak, and I believe he's more of. I don't think he tested the combine. I believe he's also more of a track athlete in the Raheem Mostert type of mold that seems to thrive in that system. I love Cam Akers. Don't get me wrong. I think he would be electric in that system because I think any running back would. I don't think he's the type of back that they go after. They like the Breidas, they like the Jerick McKinnons, Raheem Mosterts of the world.
They like explosive athletes.
Yeah.
Cam Akers is
Oh, did we just lose Sean?
I think we lost him.
Look at that frozen pose. That's a beauty.
StreamYard was not listening anymore of him besmirching the Niners offense.
I love the Niners offense. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Cam Akers in the Niners either. But
it's not that I mind seeing him there. It's that I don't think it's like everybody's got a type.
Yeah.
Right? And Kyle Shanahan has a type. And I don't think Cam Akers is his type. You know, if they matched on Tinder, I think he'd swipe left.
I think the 49ers have a couple of late round guys they could add that would fit perfectly into their system. Hey, there he is.
I can still hear you guys. I don't know why you can still hear me. But
dude, you were like this. You were just.
That's
all right. So let's. Where did I cut out? What was the last thing I said?
You were talking about how Cam Akers would be a terrible fit for San Francisco, and how J.K. Dobbins would be.
I think you did.
So I don't know if you heard this because you said you could hear us, but if Kyle Shanahan saw Cam Akers on Tinder, he would swipe left. He's just not his type. He's just not his type. It's nothing personal.
Okay, like Kyle Shanahan does not say like, all right, if you're a really explosive athlete, I like you, but only if you're under 210 pounds. Like, no, that's not how that works. Like, thresholds go the other way. Like, people don't say you're too big. People, Jesus Christ, we're really killing these innuendos here tonight. But
you.
It's literally just
apparently Sean has a type as well. I guess we're finding that out about him.
I do. No, like, I don't think that they're worried about him being too big of a back. They just want explosive athletes. I think Cam Akers is. So, yeah, I like Dobbins there. I like Akers there as well. And I think Akers, I think he'd thrive there. And I think he's a little more in the range of where they'll be picking as well. But yeah, let's take a short break here, and we'll come back. We'll talk Clyde Edwards-Helaire and just wrap up a couple other players that we want to talk about that we haven't yet talked about on the show. All right, we are back to talk Clyde Edwards-Helaire and just a couple other random guys we want to talk about here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, talked about him before. He's another guy I'd like to see in Arizona. I think that just like putting him out there with his pass catching ability and just having them spread the field with 4 wide receivers, let him attack the defense in that way, and just have him line up against linebackers. I really like that fit. I think he's going to go too late to go to the Dolphins. He might be a sneaky one to go to the Colts and mix time with Marlon Mack and just eliminate Nyheim Hines from the equation. And then I also think he could be a Tampa Bay running back as well.
That's where I'm thinking is Tampa Bay. You bring in Tom Brady now, you know how much he loves James White. Plus you have Bruce Arians who loves throwing to the running backs. Bringing in the best pass catching back in the draft and one that can actually stay on the field for 3 downs. I think that'd be a beautiful landing spot for him. Plus, they can wait till the second round and grab him because you know they're going to go probably offensive line in the first round.
Yeah, he might even drop to the third, just depending on how this running back class goes. Because as we were talking about it, like the Dolphins and the Falcons are the ones that we think could be in play super early, and then you look at all these other teams. There's like 19 teams that we take that's like potentially taking a running back, and they're all kind of like, do we think they would go in round 2? Do we think they would do that? And most of them are like, nah, probably not. But like, so we could see just like the first 2 running backs go in the first 2 rounds, and then have a little bit of a slip into the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah,
Andrew,
it's going to be weird.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'm kind of on board with that idea that he's going to slide a little bit later, and so I don't necessarily think he's going to go to one of the obvious teams that need a running back. No, obviously I would love to see him in the Bucs offense. I think that would be a great fit for him. But I feel like they'll either take somebody earlier or just sort of punt the position and hang on to what they got. Because I think
you're really going to just tell us like, I think they might take someone earlier or they might take someone later.
No,
I was just gonna log off.
This is the tautological school of tautology. No. Honestly, like I'm kind of poring over the depth charts, and I'm thinking, if anything, and again, this is totally theoretical, but like I could see Belichick looking for the James White replacement, and I think he would be basically a plug and play replacement for James White, right? Who's very valuable in the Belichick offense. Now that's why I say sliding a little bit later, because I really don't think they're going to go even a day 2 running back again after going first and second round the last 2 years. I really don't think they are.
There's no way he falls to day 3 though. Like there's no way he falls to round 4.
I do agree, but I also think there's no way you can say no way, right? It's just like anything can happen, right? And so I think if he did slide to him on day 4, I think he'd be a great fit. Maybe late day 3.
If he slides to day 4, like that's a really solid deal.
Day 4, huh?
If he makes it out of the draft and then just like doesn't go through undrafted free agents and then just sits there for a whole day, like you should probably get on board with that.
What could he do? Do you think if he released a video of himself smoking weed like the day of the draft, do you think that would be enough?
No, I don't. Not anymore. I think
it need to be like lines of cocaine.
I don't even think they'd care.
But no, so I think the Patriots could be an interesting fit for him. I like what you said about the Colts, but again, I don't think that I don't think they have a need for him. I think they're pretty well set at running back, and they'll probably again take somebody later. Like they get Wilkins in the 5th, they get Nyheim Hines in the 4th. I think honestly that the Titans would be another good fit to take him sort of late day 2, just because. Henry does not catch the ball well. Dion Lewis did not look super spry last year. He looked kind of a shell of himself. He could be the good complementary back to Derrick Henry. I could see that being a good landing spot for him. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be an elite fantasy fantasy spot for him. But in terms of like actual NFL football, I think that could be beneficial to their offense.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it could be an elite fantasy spot for him because they just franchise tagged Derrick Henry, and I think that they probably move on from him after this year. And the other thing is, so I don't know. I think that if you are willing to wait a year on him, like I think that's super profitable spot for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real quick, let's just run through all the teams that we kind of pegged as potentially taking a running back. So just going straight down the line, we talked about the Bills a little bit. I think that Devin Singletary, they like him a lot, but I think they may add somebody late, so I think they want to run a committee there. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins are obviously an obvious spot for them. The Patriots are definitely a maybe, despite the fact that they've invested in Damian Harris and Sony Michel pretty early the last couple of years. The Jets look like they want to move on from Le'Veon Bell. That's kind of a crappy spot to land immediately. It's tough to carve out a role there with him there, but like down the
And
line
with
could
Gase
be
as your
nice.
coach.
Yeah, that too. Gase will be gone by the time they see the field anyway, though. The Ravens, I think, are interesting. Justice Hill didn't see the field a whole lot last year. Mark Ingram's getting up there in age. I think that they probably try and bring in some more young talent later in the draft. Pittsburgh, James Conner, I don't think they're sold on him. Benny Snell, I don't think they've shown a ton of trust in him, even though he has gotten some work there. The Colts, we've talked about at length. The Chiefs, the Chargers, I think they still try and bring somebody in to complement Austin Eckler. The Eagles, like, they look like they've moved on and they're ready to make Miles Sanders their lead back, but like they've never really done that. They've also never really invested in a player like Miles Sanders since LaShawn McCoy. So they're a maybe. They could go either way. I think the Lions probably invest in running back after the injuries to Kerryon Johnson and Bo Scarborough taking over and Ty Johnson being a huge letdown last year. Falcons definitely need a running back. Tampa definitely needs a running back. Cardinals, we talked about. You guys, I think, are a little more on board with Kenyon Drake long-term than I am. The Rams, I think, really could move on from Gurley, and if they do, I'm not sure how confident they are in Darrell Henderson at this point. So they might add somebody if they plan on moving on from Gurley this year. If they don't, they'll probably address the position next year. 49ers aren't obvious, and then I think the Seahawks are kind of sneaky there too, because obviously Chris Carson's starting to get up there. Penny's played well when he's played, but they there's something going on there where they just don't trust him at all. So they may have learned from their mistake taking a running back early, but I think they probably still are looking at taking a running back at some point there. So. Yeah, Joey, you got another player you want to talk about that we haven't talked about on the podcast yet. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Darrington Evans from Appalachian State. I would love to see him actually land with the 49ers. He's elusive, he's quick, he's got great burst. Like my friend Andrew over here just pointed out, he has the 5th best spark score in the draft. He runs his own scheme perfect, and he would just fit perfectly in the 49ers system. And he is also great in the return game, so he can make the roster for many reasons and then kind of follow the mold of Raheem Mostert. If he gets an opportunity, he can run with the job, and then you have yourself a late-round rookie to be your starter for foreseeable future.
So, real quick, if they don't take a running back in this draft or sign anybody in free agency, who do you think their primary back is going into the year, and do you think they hold the primary role for the majority of the year?
I think it's Mostert going in. I think Coleman's going to be gone. I really do believe it's Mostert just because he showed so much at the end of last season that Breda didn't even see the field.
The look on Andrew's face.
I know. And I do think they'll work in McKinnon. But that's yet to be seen if he can ever get healthy again. But he did restructure his contract to the league minimum.
He did.
So
after signing that massive
deal, never even saw the field.
After getting,
he was going in the second round of startups, and it was just like, why? Why is this happening?
He was one of the top 5 paid running backs in the league for 2 years without playing a down.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's on that Sam Bradford program.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
But I love Raheem Mostert. He's an incredible story. I don't think he's an incredible running back. I think he is a very.
He fits the system well.
He's a beneficiary of the scheme. I think Breida is a more talented running back than Mostert.
I don't think either of them are that talented. I think they're both athletic.
Absolutely. But I think of the two, I think Breida is the more talented. I think they're both elite athletes.
But he's always beat up.
Sure. He's undersized, and he's playing a physical position without really the body mass to the BMI to support it, right?
Has the body mass?
Cam Akers.
Darrington Evans.
Also, AJ Dillon, the number 1 spark athlete in the class.
Oh my god!
I hate AJ
get
Dillon.
on board with that.
No, I agree. His tape is absolutely hot garbage. But
We're doing this startup right now with all the rookies in there, and I can't wait till someone takes AJ Dillon in round 7.
I know. I took Joe Burrow in round 3.
I don't know. It's funny though, because like Breida in the last startup we did went in like round 4 or 5, and I took Raheem Mostert. Granted, it's a full IDP, so like there's defensive players mixed in here that kind of widen the gap. But I took Mostert in round like 18, and I would much prefer Mostert. What?
That still seems early to me.
I don't know, man. I felt pretty good about that, especially with like without having the rookies in the class. It's a pretty shallow running back landscape at the moment. Because a lot of these guys are going to get replaced by this 2020 class. So, I don't know. I felt pretty good about taking that shot in round 18. But
plus, Breida isn't guaranteed to stay. They only have a second round tenure on him.
No one's paying a second round for him.
He's a beneficiary of the system. Like,
yeah.
No.
So we got a couple of minutes left. Antonio Gibson. We haven't talked about him because he was in one of our wide receiver groups, and then I wanted to move him to the running back groups, and then we never got around to him in the running backs. And I don't know where he's going to play in the NFL, but I want him on my team. He is a playmaker in the open field. His contact balance is insane. I think he's probably a better running back than wide receiver. I think he probably wants to play wide receiver because it's a better career trajectory. But he's not very good at route running. But that said, you play him at running back and you get him matched up against linebackers. I think he ran like a 4.39.
And we lost him again.
All right.
So I'm wondering if he's thinking along the Antonio Gibson line, should the Niners just line Jalen Hurd up at running back?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's it.
Why not? Destroy his back completely.
So anyway, continuing on with Antonio Gibson, I don't know a ton about him. I know that Sean is super high on him. I know that he kind of compares him a little bit to oh my goodness, I'm gonna draw a blank on the name. We talked about him last week, Joey. You weren't here, but the guy he played quarterback this year. He played Wildcat. Do you know what I mean?
What team?
I'm gonna draw a blank. So he was a wide receiver. His team had like 3 quarterback injuries, so he gets thrust into playing quarterback. He basically played out of the. There, Sean's back.
Here, he'll tell us.
Sorry, Sean. I was trying to fill in the blank while you reconnected, and I was trying to remember who the guy was we talked about last week that played Wildcat. We're not getting audio from you. Your mic's muted. No, it's still muted.
Yeah.
Disconnect and reconnect. This is fantastic podcasting right now. Oh no, hang on. Let me bring up. I actually have a document with from last week. If I can bring it up, Joey, kill some time, but kill some time.
Darrington Evans. I'm gonna keep talking about him. So He was a killer athlete. You can. Oh, Sean, are you here? Still no audio. He's probably a guy you could probably get like 5th round, 6th round, and he has the ability in the 49er system to just step right in. And as much as I love Mostert, like you said, I don't think he's a starting running back in the NFL. I think he fits the system well, and he was fresh going in. And I think he could easily lose the job just as quickly as he won the job. And I think Evans is a guy who, especially like his elusiveness, you see his open field ability, it's unbelievable. So, I don't know. I just feel like it's a guy who could really benefit from being drafted by the Niners.
For sure. So I got the guy's name is Lynn Bowden.
Lynn Bowden. Okay, that's what I was thinking, from Kentucky.
And so he's just like a freakish raw athlete that doesn't necessarily have a lot of polish to his game, but has a ton of potential. And so I think that's kind of the same mold that Antonio Gibson fits into. Go ahead, Sean. No, still no. All right. So Antonio Gibson, what I've read about him, and it's kind of very limited, is he actually matches up very closely with Tony Pollard from Dallas. Physically,
was his teammate.
Oh, is it okay? I didn't really.
Gibson's
check.
from Memphis too.
Okay, and like favorably so. Like I think he actually performs better in most like physical testing categories than Pollard. And I think everyone was very excited about Pollard. So if you're excited about Pollard, I think you should be excited about Gibson. And so again, it's a little bit of a question mark of what position he plays at the next level. But if you get one of the creative minds in the NFL that are willing to buy into him as an offensive weapon, like there's certainly a lot of potential to be had there. Like Tony Pollard, he actually produced pretty good numbers in limited snaps.
And he played, he produced a lot.
Absolutely. So, I think there's certainly something to be said about where Gibson's going to land and what kind of draft capital somebody's going to invest in him in terms of what opportunity he might get. But in the right situation, he's very interesting to me.
And I'm wondering if more coordinators are going to take like a little bit of what Kyle Shanahan did with Deebo Samuel this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they ran so many sweeps with him and so many end arounds. Samuel was used as a weapon, like you said. Like mainly he was a receiving weapon, but he actually I don't have the number in front of me, but I think he had like 200 plus rushing yards.
Yeah, he was a very effective because and that's kind of one of the descriptors that they use for him in terms of his draft profiles. Like he's a dangerous player with the ball in his hands in space, right? So he's a guy that you want to create opportunities for, get the ball in his hands in space. He sort of profiles more as a running back once he's caught the ball than he does as a wide receiver. So
right.
There's a lot of value in that as well. So I'm going to go to a limb and say that there's a low probability that we're going to be able to recover Sean. So
he just said, finish up without me. I have I'm done.
Yeah, so I'm gonna suggest that you tie a bow in this for us, Joey.
All right. This has been episode 4 of Dynasty Football Digest. You can find me at Joey the Tooth IDP. You can find Andrew at BiddyCentFF and Landrew at Lanny1925. You can find all our written content at dynastyfootballdigest.com and idpguys.org. Subscribe and you can get access to trade calculator, rankings, ADP, all the written content again. We have a draft magazine that's coming out, both an IDP one and a Dynasty one. You can pre-order now. There should be links right up on the websites. We do player profiles for all positions, and it's really helpful for all your rookie drafts coming out. And yeah, other than that, it's been a good show. Minus Sean disappearing. Sorry, Sean. It's always a pleasure, Andrew. I'm going to go get some sleep.
Cheers, Mom, Dad.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening. Dynasty Football Digest. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Nasty A, got you, homie. Good production right here. We the Digest Network. And my name's Clockwise Across.